There you are. Welcome back to the channel. This is the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in.
You see the shape of these windows, circular, very important, not square, circular or oval, etc. And we start seeing very obvious magnetron-shaped windows. And once you know that light and sound are inextricably connected, if you send light through a magnetron shape, it will create a magnetron effect. The shape of the window will take the frequency of the light and amplify it because it's in the shape of a magnetron. It's spectacular. So the light from outside goes through the magnetron structures into the church, into the cathedral. It amplifies it because the cathedral is just an ambient chamber. And now you got this magnetron amplification of the light that shoots out the spires and through the top of the cathedral. It's like laser transfer. You can take the information of an egg from a salamander or a lizard. You put a laser beam through a fertilized lizard egg and you point the laser at the infertile frog egg and the frog will become a lizard. The light takes the information and deposits it from one to the other. That's what happens. The light comes in through the window, takes the information of the light and amplifies it inside the chamber. Magnetron-shaped windows in cathedrals is suddenly a dead giveaway that this is very, very advanced technology that we're only waking up to now.
If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. Look at this amazing blue aragonite. It's like a baby blue raspberry snow cone. Oh man, it's hot out too. That sounds delicious. Yeah, I like this piece. The colors on it is definitely popping, like a baby blue. If I had to name this piece, I would call it Blastoise.
The beginning of the study of magnetism can be traced back to Egypt. Also, we find the Greeks used it, and among the Greeks and early Egyptians, we have the first understanding of the nature of magnetism. It was used principally in healing. It was well known to Pythagoras, who gave us considerable information on the subject, which was promptly forgotten by everybody else. Then we have little knowledge of it, except through the Arabs. The Chinese were aware of it because of the discovery of the mariner's compass. But for the most part, it was neglected until the 17th century, when it became involved in the story of Rosicrucianism. The alchemists, the Rosicrucians, and the Hermetists all were unfolding phases of magnetic theory. Then we come down a little later, and we come upon a curious instrument, Mesmer's magnetic tub. This was a kind of tank in which many people put their feet at the same time and held hands and created a battery out of the water in the tank. Incidentally, the magnetic theory is based upon a very simple fact, namely that what we call empty air is not empty at all. It is the most profoundly used all the elements that we know anything about. We all live within air and have our being, and we know that if air fails, we die. But what we do not realize is that air is not just some oxygen or helium or something of this nature. Air is something in itself. It is a substance of itself. It is a substance so real and so important that it's almost impossible to estimate it. It is a tremendous field of magnetic energy. The atmosphere carries the magnetism of the sun. The study of the magnetic powers of the sun will be more or less clearly understood by the study of the seasons. Winter, summer, spring, and these things have all to do with a magnetic factor in the air. And we think of it only as in trying to explain it as a physical astronomical phenomena, since as the rotation and revolutions of the sun and planets. But each of these planets is a field of magnetic energy. And this energy comes to us through what we call air. One thing we have learned from television is that air transmits. We know, for instance, that we can have all kinds of programs on the air at the same time. And they can come from all directions. And they can overlap and interlap. But each one will remain separately identified as though it was moving in a channel or a circuit of its own. Something went through was vibration. And this vibration in the magnetic field can be divided into an infinite complexity of separate emanations. In other words, if we had 1,000 different channels, they could be differentiated in the magnetic field so that each one would be broadcast correctly and properly for whatever it is. Thus we realize there's something out there besides air, something besides helium and oxygen, something besides the ordinary factors we take into consideration scientifically. We are in the presence of a mysterious agent, an agent that is part of everything that we are. Now, studying magnetism as it comes into the human body, we discover along with Tilda that each human body is surrounded by an etheric or energy field. This energy field is sometimes referred to as an aura, but it is not the true aura that we think of in metaphysics. This magnetic field is an area of energy. This area of energy forms an egg-like atmospheric sheath around the physical body, usually extending 3 to 5 feet from it in each direction. This energy field is the basis of virtue, because this energy field depends for its reality, its serviceability, and its protecting power to mood, emotion, thought, and the attitudes of the person around which this magnetic field is gathered. In other words, the individual, if they are normal, if mentally, emotionally, and physically, they are keeping the rules, this magnetic field forms a tremendous protection. It is normal, it is healthy, it is constantly able to handle infections and all kinds of difficulties. It will help to heal wounds. It will help to recover the use of functions and organs. And if we are deprived of some part of the body,
Do you see these pictures? I've never seen these before. He is going crazy with these. This is a good one, guys. All these pictures are slapping.
try to compensate for it. As long as the individual takes proper care of his magnetic field, it will serve him. Now, this is a phase of morality that is generally overlooked. It is assumed that these magnetic fields are something you don't pay much attention to. They're there, maybe they'll help a little. But the truth of the matter is that practically the whole survival of the individual depends upon maintaining the integrity of this flow of energy into the magnetic field. This energy comes from the sun. It comes through a mysterious energy tube in the magnetic field. It enters the individual through the crown of the head. It disseminates through the entire body.
Did you see that red dragon at the bottom? That was crazy if you watched yesterday's video.
And it's excreted back again through the lower centers of the body and is re-cleansed by the solar energy. This is a kind of a little private tank or capsule of life that we are all carrying about with us all the time. Now, the problem of morality in this is very definite. The moment we break rules, we damage that magnetic flow. We have got to keep the laws of nature, and these in turn are the laws of God, or the magnetic field fails.
Y'all, that's a long one. We about halfway there. So if y'all want to get y'all something to drink, I'm gonna get something to drink myself. Hold on. It's juicy. He's spitting. Eat the meat and spit out the bones, y'all. Something don't make sense, all right, whatever. But something, makes sense to you, let it stick. You're like, okay, with my paradigm, I could put this with this, and I could stack this with this. Oh, so that opens up this. Yeah, eat the meat, spit out the bones. That's what I do. Sleep with one eye open on these videos, Y'all want something to drink? Did you want anything? You know, help yourself. Whatever's in my fridge, you can have. Alright, y'all. Your boy just been out in that garden, man. It's just hot. It's like I just can't stay out there for long. I'm out of shape or something, man. It's tough. I was thinking about this water as soon as I started this video. I'm like, dang, I should have grabbed the water. It's too late. I gotta get on these waters before I can get the waters. So I'm getting waters on the waters. Then I'm gonna pass out. And then I'm gonna get right back in that garden and jump right back on these waters.
It can fail because of physical intemperances, which reduce its integrity and reduce its power. It can be wasted in riotous living, which is a common cause these days. It can be variously destroyed by moods, by attitudes, by fears, by complexes. It can be destroyed or damaged by alcohol, drugs, narcotics, all kinds of things. But if this field is damaged, it immediately reacts into health. It damages the individual's vitality. It makes him more easily subject to contagions and
You remember when Yahushua, he was walking and somebody touched his garment? He said, which one of y'all touched my garment? I felt virtue leave me. Let's look it up. Activate Submersible.
Welcome back, jet
It
ski
still
truck.
works.
Oxygen levels are at 100%.
We're in the Submersible. We gotta do some research
That's not a problem.
about the garment. Someone touch my garment, virtue. Luke 8:46. Someone touched me. I know that power has gone from me. You know, have you ever just felt, people be sapping energy, man?
infections, and it definitely shortens the life expectancy. Now we think of the magnetic field as surrounding the entire structure of the body, as Kilner shows in his work on the human atmosphere, and Babbitt also in his study of the atom. This, however, is only a phase of it. Each part of the body has a magnetic field. Each unit within the individual has its survival in a unit of energy. And this unit of energy is present in the smallest subdivision of imaginable space. It is in the tiniest atom. There is no such a thing as a dead particle in the universe. Even if it is killed by something, the very disintegrating process is a symbol of life energy. Therefore, we are confronted with the natural problem of realizing that virtue is to keep the law of the energy field. Now, the law of the energy field.
Hey, what'd I say? We saw that, man. I'm telling you. You can put the Most High against any of these conspiracies, and it just gets shed into the light. It gets exposed. I love it.
Just by coincidence is also the law of integrity. The energy field is what establishes right and wrong. The energy field tells us that to lose our disposition and temperament is wrong. To use various negative, destructive attitudes is wrong. To compromise the principles of right living is wrong. To think badly, to feel unpleasantly, to be engaged in any action or concept which is contrary to the common good damages the magnetic field and therefore is wrong. Selfishness injures that field. Every vice we know, the breaking of any of the 10 Commandments and a number of other rules results in damage to that field. It has nothing to do with nation. It has nothing to do with the ordinary concepts of codes, because the final code.
You guys better hope I can get this one out to you guys. I might not.
Is based upon the life principle in each part of the human constitution. So we have each little cell has its own moral responsibilities. The stomach has its own magnetic field. The stomach is not simply an organ. It is an organism. It is a living thing within the human body. The same is true of the heart, the brain, the glandular structure, all the organs, the intestines, all the motor system, the nervous system, the endocrine system. These are all entities. They are entities of magnetic unities. Organisms that are cooperating together for the common good. To abuse one is to damage all. To neglect one is to neglect all. Each of these organs has its own field in the body, and all these fields together constitute the grand magnetic field that surrounds the complete person. Now we go inside of this for a moment to see what we're dealing with. So we go back to Pythagoras, who was very timely in that. He tells us that in Egypt there was a temple in which therapy was the result of this contemplation of symmetrical geometric solids. In other words, the images of therapy were mathematical cubes, octagons, and various forms, dodecahedrons, each one placed upon a kind of altar or pedestal for the contemplation of the sufferer. All were symmetric geometric solids, perfect and complete in structure. To look upon them was therapeutic, because to look upon them accepted their energy as a reality in our lives. Now these stone solids apparently were not alive. They only gave the impression of value, but actually they were alive. Every form in nature, natural or artificial, has a magnetic field. From the tiniest atom to the greatest galaxy, the magnetic fields are present, and the rules of each of them must be obeyed. Now, if an individual looking at a geometric solid sees in it a perfect proportion, this realization enters into the subconscious life of the person. The imagery of that solid is sent into the consciousness in the form of a benevolent magnetic center. It means that the individual is seeing a harmony, is seeing something in perfect order and perfect correctness. And in visualizing it, wherever we see perfection, it improves ourselves. Wherever we accept discord as inevitable, it injures ourselves. Everywhere looking around us in nature, we see that all natural things are benevolent. It is only when these are abused, mostly by humanity, that these benevolences are lost. So we find that we live in a universe in which everything is in harmony if we are. Now, the beginning of the study of magnetism.
How crazy is this thing in the beginning, though? This has to be some type of Solomon key or alchemy going on here. Alright, gang, I wanted to look a little bit into electroculture. Because, you know, with those coppers and stuff.
POV. You just learned about electroculture. Let's quickly make one. After cutting the copper, make sure to file the ends. Kind of like this. Let's wire it. And plant this thing. Day 1. Without an electroculture antenna. Day 7. Plants look healthier with much more size. Seems to also keep bugs and pests away. POV. You.
Alright, so I gotta get some copper. I'm going tomorrow. Step by step guide. Oh, you need to wrap that little antenna around it at the top to get it. 5 to 8 inches deep. Okay. Yeah, I gotta go get these. I'm gonna make them. I'm gonna go get the copper wire and I'm gonna get my own. But I gotta figure out how to cut that. Don't tell me I need to probably try with some shears maybe.
A lot of people are asking me, how do you explain all the energy from the atmospheric antennas related to electroculture? Here is a great example. This is copper with a battery and some magnets. And what you see here is the spin that's always occurring the entire time. And when you're placing these atmospheric antennas into the soil that are with copper, that's what you're creating. The exact same thing. You're creating a spin, a vortex, right? You're changing the magnetism of that area so that you can enhance your yields and grow larger food and also start to yield more food over time. The magic is Victor Schauberger determined all this back in the 1940s. So if we go back in time and look at Victor Schauberger's work, he showed that when you use copper into the soil, copper-rich
Victor Schauberger, write that down. Whew, it's been a minute since I wrote something down. It's time to get back to it. We're jumping into Submersible. We're writing stuff down. Y'all getting the OG jet ski Chuck today. Victor Schauberger. I wonder if he's got any books.
soils retained their moisture very well, and he began to experiment with them because he yielded 17 to 35% increases in his harvest. That's the magic of copper. Now, the only reason
I'm never trying to buy romaine lettuce or kale chips ever again.
we were never told about copper was because the fact that back in the day, representatives from the local agriculture society started to warn farmers against the use of copper as it could cause the overproduction, which would lower their prices. Meaning that if they use copper plows and all of the copper and electroculture that we are using today, they would have too much food and not make enough money. Think about that logic. A lot of people are asking me, how do you explain all the
Yeah, man. We shouldn't be buying anything. We should be growing literally all our, that's one of my goals, is to literally eat everything I grow. Everything I put in my mouth is something I grew.
First year with electroculture, and my two plants have 20 spaghetti squashes, and they were massive. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And that's the thing. Electroculture, you're tapping into the ether, you're tapping into the earth energy. You know, people can research earth batteries because that's kind of what electroculture is also tapping into. The beautiful energy that's coming out of the earth that's pulsing every single day. That's what you're tapping into. And that energy is helping to amplify the energy of your plants. It helps to restore the sap. It helps to bring more pollinators. And it helps to increase growth. Electroculture works indoors. Any of your little planter pots, you can just take a piece of wood, wrap it with copper, make a little antenna, and place it into the planter in your apartment. And if you want, you can take it a step further. You can attach a crystal to the top so that you get the color spectrum off the crystal. And then you can wrap that with copper so you create a piezoelectric effect, which will amplify the energy of your plants. And for example, aloe vera, which a lot of people grow indoors, goes absolutely wild with copper, electroculture, and lapis. First year with electroculture and my two plants.
He said throw a crystal on top to get the piezoelectric electricity shooting into the copper, to the copper and then straight into the soil. Man, you trying to electrify that soil. Those things are going to go be above the house. I'm getting excited, man. I'm not going to lie. I was feeling kind of down. But after getting excited about this electroculture, it just brings you up, man. Kicking it with you guys, man, it brings me up. So it's easy to do these every single day when I'm kicking it with you guys, and it's just an uplifting feeling.
I hope this works. I want to be wrong. I've been getting comments and DMs nonstop about electroculture. So let's see what is up with these little rods. Electroculture is this new trend that's going around, and it is apparently the use
It's been around, bucko.
of these copper wires on a rod or sticking into the soil, and it's supposed to increase the growth of your, in this case, is going to be figs. I got 6 different varieties of figs, 12 figs total. We're going to do one with a copper rod and one without a copper rod. Put them in the exact same place, give them the exact same amount of water. We're not going to fertilize any of them for like an entire year. We're going to be using 3-gallon pots just so we can give these enough room for growth. You know, if I got these copper rods in here, they may grow 10 foot in a week.
Keep going.
I ordered the rods on Amazon. They're quarter.
I took my time with my roots. You see how you take it out, you unplant it. I like right here, I like took and I like ruffled them up, so like the roots was like sticking out. You know what I'm saying? So when I dropped them bad boys, you know, they can catch better. I even seen some people like throw an egg, like throw it like bam, throw an egg right where they're dropping it, and you know, they say that's the secret to making them sprout good too. If you guys got any secrets, please drop them in the comments below. I'm new to this.
I ordered the rods on Amazon. They're 1/4-inch dowels with some wire around them. They said this is 99.9% copper. What I didn't know, they are wrapped around clockwise. We're in the northern hemisphere, so the wire must be wrapped clockwise. Magnetism, I guess, I don't know. We're going to go ahead and put the pole, I mean, right next to it, I guess would be the best spot, right? An antenna for positive vibes and positive energy.
How far does the metal have to go in?
I don't know. It just has to be in. Just has to be in. You know, if I can add some crystals, that would be even better. Maybe the next video I'll have crystals. I hope this works. I want to be wrong.
That's all we have for today's video. The code word today is garden. Go ahead and drop garden in the comments below. That lets me know you made it all the way through the video, and I just want to say thank you. Your support means the world to me, and this was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.